Have you ever received an exclusive invitation claiming you qualified for a breakthrough Alzheimer's drug trial that could prevent dementia? Charles Miller, an 80-year-old retired accountant from Miami, Florida, who had been experiencing mild memory concerns, thought he was getting early access to revolutionary treatment when pharmaceutical researchers called about an experimental drug trial. Within 1 week, he had paid $18,000 to participate in fake clinical research that exposed him to dangerous substances. Charles's story reveals how medical scammers target seniors with cognitive concerns, using their fear of dementia and hope for breakthrough treatments as manipulation tools. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how these fake pharmaceutical researchers operate and learn the warning signs that could protect cognitively concerned seniors and their families. Stay until the end, because Charles's experience shows how fake drug trials can cause actual neurological harm while stealing money, making these among the most sophisticated scams targeting vulnerable seniors seeking cognitive protection. The Breakthrough Opportunity Call. It was a Wednesday afternoon in February when Charles's phone rang with a call that would offer false hope while endangering his health. He had just finished organizing his financial papers when his caller ID showed what appeared to be a pharmaceutical research center number. "Mr. Miller, this is Dr. Rebecca Foster from the National Alzheimer's Research Institute. I'm calling because your recent cognitive screening has qualified you for an exclusive clinical trial, testing a breakthrough Alzheimer's prevention drug that could change everything." Charles felt immediate interest mixed with caution. As someone who had been worried about occasional memory lapses, the possibility of preventing dementia was incredibly appealing. Dr. Foster continued with impressive pharmaceutical authority and clinical research terminology. "Mr. Miller, we've developed a revolutionary medication called NeuroGuard that prevents beta-amyloid plaque formation in the brain. Your cognitive profile makes you an ideal candidate for this Phase 3 clinical trial that could preserve your mental function indefinitely." The caller knew Charles's age, his accounting background, and even referenced his recent concerns about memory during routine medical appointments. This personal information made the opportunity seem credible and exclusively tailored to him. I need to explain how significant this opportunity is. Only 200 patients nationwide qualify for this trial, and we have one remaining slot specifically reserved for someone with your cognitive profile and professional background. Building research. Hope. Dr. Foster continued using sophisticated pharmaceutical terminology and clinical trial procedures that Charles found both impressive and believable. She described drug development and research protocols with scientific expertise that seemed legitimate. NeuroGuard works by blocking tau protein aggregation while enhancing synaptic plasticity in memory centers. Our Phase 2 results showed 94% effectiveness in preventing cognitive decline in patients with your exact risk profile. She explained that Charles's analytical background made him perfect for understanding the importance of early intervention. Charles had indeed been reading about Alzheimer's research and was interested in prevention strategies. Patients with your intellectual capacity typically respond best to cognitive preservation therapy because you have more neural reserves to protect. This drug could maintain your analytical abilities at current levels permanently. Dr. Foster created excitement by explaining that trial participants received cutting-edge treatment years before public availability, and that Charles's accounting skills would help him appreciate the detailed cognitive assessments involved. This trial requires significant commitment and involves monthly cognitive testing, but participants gain access to treatment worth $50,000 that would otherwise be unavailable until FDA approval in 2030. The exclusive trial protocol. Dr. Foster explained that Charles needed to pay a research participation fee to secure his position in the exclusive trial. The payment covered specialized testing, personalized drug preparation, and intensive monitoring. Clinical trial participation requires a $18,000 research fee because this involves personalized medication, compounding, and extensive neurological monitoring that insurance doesn't cover until FDA approval. She provided Charles with specific pharmaceutical codes and clinical trial authorization numbers that sounded official. Dr. Foster seemed to have detailed knowledge of drug development and spoke with authority about research procedures. Consider this an investment in your cognitive future. Trial participants who complete the full protocol maintain normal brain function while others their age develop dementia. This could be your last chance to prevent Alzheimer's. Dr. Foster created urgency by explaining that the trial had a strict enrollment deadline, and Charles needed to commit within 24 hours or lose his qualified participant slot to someone else. Based on your cognitive screening scores, we've held this position for 48 hours, but federal research regulations require confirmation today, or we must offer it to the next qualified candidate. The payment pressure. Charles felt torn between cognitive protection hope and financial concern. Dr. Foster had created such convincing pharmaceutical opportunity that questioning the trial seemed like missing his only chance to prevent dementia. He agreed to participate. Dr. Foster guided him through the payment process, explaining that the research institute required wire transfer to secure his trial enrollment and begin drug preparation. Clinical research protocols require immediate wire transfer to initiate personalized drug synthesis and reserve specialized testing equipment. This is standard procedure for experimental pharmaceutical trials. At the wire transfer location, Charles hesitated when asked about the payment purpose. Dr. Foster, still on the phone, coached him to explain it was for clinical research participation, which sounded scientifically legitimate. Charles sent $18,000, believing he was investing in cognitive preservation. Dr. Foster assured him that his personalized medication would arrive within days and provided detailed trial participation instructions. You've made a brain-saving decision. This experimental drug will prevent the dementia that would otherwise be inevitable and preserve your cognitive abilities. For decades, the dangerous drug trial. The package arrived containing what appeared to be professional pharmaceutical packaging, with clinical trial documentation and research institute branding. The medications looked legitimate and came with detailed administration instructions. Charles began taking the experimental drugs as directed, following the provided dosing schedule and cognitive assessment protocols. Initially, he attributed mild side effects to his brain, adjusting to the neuroprotective compounds. The fake medications caused concerning symptoms including confusion, dizziness, and memory problems worse than anything Charles had experienced. Before starting the trial, when he reported these effects, fake researchers claimed they were expected adjustments. These symptoms indicate the drug is crossing the blood-brain barrier and beginning neuroprotective action. Cognitive trials often involve temporary adjustment periods as brain chemistry optimizes. After 2 weeks of taking the experimental drugs, Charles's cognitive function had actually deteriorated. His thinking was cloudier, his memory was worse, and he was experiencing neurological symptoms that were alarming his family. The cognitive crisis. Charles's mental condition declined significantly while participating in the fake trial. He was experiencing confusion, disorientation, and memory problems that were concerning his daughter during their regular phone calls. She became alarmed when Charles seemed unable to remember recent conversations and insisted on visiting him. When she arrived, she was shocked by his cognitive deterioration and the story of experimental drug participation. "Dad, there's no record of this research institute or this drug trial. You've been scammed, and whatever you're taking is making you worse, not better." She immediately took Charles to the emergency room, where neurologists were concerned by his cognitive symptoms and the story of unauthorized experimental drug consumption. "Mr. Miller, you've been taking substances that are causing cognitive impairment. These aren't legitimate research medications, and they're actually harming your brain function rather than protecting it." The Research Truth Comprehensive Neurological Evaluation revealed that Charles's cognitive function had been normal for his age before starting the fake trial. The experimental drugs had caused chemical-induced cognitive impairment that required immediate discontinuation. Charles's real physician was outraged that criminals had exploited his legitimate concerns about aging to administer brain-affecting chemicals while claiming to provide cognitive protection. Your baseline cognitive function was excellent before this scam. These criminals used your fear of dementia to poison your brain while stealing your money. The fake clinical trial had no scientific basis, no FDA approval, and no legitimate research protocols. Charles had been exposed to dangerous substances that actually harmed the cognitive function he was trying to protect. The investigation medical fraud investigators explained that Charles had been targeted by a sophisticated operation that focused on cognitive fears to manipulate intellectually accomplished seniors into paying for fake pharmaceutical research. The investigation revealed that the same group had scammed dozens of seniors using similar fake clinical trial scenarios. They had stolen over $1.2 million while potentially causing permanent cognitive damage through dangerous experimental substances. Police discovered that the scammers used detailed senior databases, fake pharmaceutical credentials, and harmful chemical compounds designed to create believable research experiences while exploiting dementia fears. Warning signs. Charles missed looking. Back, Charles identified several red flags he wished he had recognized. Unsolicited invitations to exclusive clinical trials. Legitimate pharmaceutical research recruits participants through established medical channels and never makes cold calls about trial opportunities. Payment requirements for clinical trial participation. Real drug trials pay participants for their time and never require fees for experimental treatment access or research participation. Immediate enrollment deadlines with payment pressure. Legitimate clinical trials have extensive screening processes and never pressure immediate commitment with financial requirements. Unverified research credentials and trial documentation. Established pharmaceutical companies conduct trials through recognized medical institutions with verifiable research protocols. The recovery process. While Charles never recovered his $18,000, his cognitive function gradually returned to normal once he stopped taking the fake experimental drugs. His mental clarity improved significantly after discontinuing the harmful substances. Charles's experience led to increased awareness about clinical trial scams targeting cognitively concerned seniors in his community. He began working with senior organizations to educate others about pharmaceutical fraud. Most importantly, Charles learned to verify all research opportunities through legitimate medical channels before considering participation in any clinical trials or experimental treatments. Final thoughts. Charles's story demonstrates that clinical trial scams exploit seniors' hope for cognitive protection while potentially causing the very brain damage they claim to prevent. These criminals understand that fear of dementia makes people vulnerable to promises of breakthrough treatments. The key lesson from Charles's experience is this: legitimate clinical trials never require payment from participants and are conducted through established medical institutions with proper oversight and verification procedures. If you receive invitations to exclusive drug trials or experimental treatments, verify the research through official medical channels before considering participation. Never pay money to join clinical trials, regardless of how revolutionary the treatment sounds. Remember, protecting your cognitive health means working with legitimate medical professionals through established research institutions, not paying scammers who exploit dementia fears to administer dangerous experimental substances. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.